This week was really your first modular content week and will be directly related to assignment number one, which will be coming up before you know it. And we will actually do the first collaborate next Thursday night, so I certainly hope you'll be able to make it. But this week we look at the origins of conflict. Now, what are origins? They are not exactly what they sound like. Origins obviously is background, which is true. So when it comes to assignment number one and you're going to choose from one of 5 case studies, we of course want to know some of the background. But origins is also related to the first methodological tool we use, if we like. How do you actually measure and define conflict? So if you go through your modules from this week, there's a few ways to do that. We look at different types of violence, for example, direct violence or structural violence or cultural violence, and armed conflict, which can be one-sided, it can be both sides. So there's different types of ways of defining conflict, so you can draw on your resources there. And the second really important way we want to see you draw on your resources is there's actually some indexes around violence. So the Uppsala Index, for example, looks at things like how many deaths is considered to be part of violent conflict. I know this sounds strange because any death obviously means violence, but violent in the global context that would draw attention from other countries or the type of indexes that the United Nations might use. So 25 deaths related to the same conflict would be called a violent conflict. And then you have what you call the Correlates of War Index, which is around 1,000 deaths might be called a war. So they're two different measures. So when you're looking at your conflict or things like Nigeria, consider those measures and how you would describe it. And then the second model is the greed or grievance model, which suggests that sources of conflict, so this is things like, land, territory, economic inequality, could be either greed, which is just things like a fight over oil or resources, or even drug wars in places like South America. So there could be violence directly related to greed, or would you be better at explaining it by the grievance model? So this comes down to sources of conflict, which is often things like, and there is a list in our modules as well, land or territory, ethnic differences, religious differences. So these are really common ones. You might come up with some others yourself as well. So that's what we're looking at this week, and thank you very much. Keep engaging, and like I said, what we're doing particularly up to around week 4 is directly related to assignment 1. So please keep engaging, and I hope these videos will help you direct your attention, but don't use them as a actual replacement for reading, certainly essential readings and going through the modules yourself. Thank you very much.